like to call Troop 59 in to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. They're going to come in and lead us. Troop 59. Go ahead.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States.
United States of America,
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This meeting is convened in accordance with the provisions of the Open Publics Meeting Act of New Jersey. That the official minutes reflect that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by publishing a notice in the Asbury Park Press on Tuesday, January 8th, 2019, and also forwarded to the Toms River Times, Toms River Patch, and WOBM News on Wednesday, January 3rd, 2019, and thereafter posting same on the Town Hall Bulletin Board for such notices and filing same with the Township Clerk, pursuant to resolution adopted by the Township Council on January 3rd, 2019. The notice was also posted on the Township webpage. Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Here.
Councilman Kubel.
Present.
Councilwoman Maruka.
Present.
Councilman Roderick.
Here.
Councilman Turnbach.
Here.
Council Vice President Hill.
Here.
Council President Whitman.
Here.
First item on the agenda, the approval of minutes from December 10, 2019.
Move the minutes.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Yurick, seconded by Councilman Kubel. Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Councilman Kubel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Maruka.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Council Vice President Hill.
Yes.
Council President Whitman.
Yes.
Next on the agenda, we have our honoring resolutions and presentations. Tonight, we are honoring Eagle Scouts Sean Jackson and Kyler Brodzinski. We have a proclamation for Just Believe Incorporated, and we will be honoring the following township retirements: Assistant Township Attorney Gary Mundy, Building Department Office Manager Daniel Pouch, Councilman Brian Kubel, Council President George Whitman, and our Mayor Thomas F. Kelleher.
Move the resolutions and presentations.
Second.
Motion made by Councilwoman Maruka, seconded by Councilman Turnbach. Councilwoman Maruka.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Councilman Kubel.
I abstain. I have a conflict.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Council Vice President Hill.
Yes.
Council President Whitman.
Yes, with the exception of C where it says my name on the resolution, but yes to the balance. At this point, we're going to have the presentations at the front of the council chambers here. So we're going to have the mayor present to Gary Mundy and Daniel Pouch. I'll do the Eagle Scouts, and I'd ask Terrence Turnback and Larry Urick to do Just Believe Incorporated. Would you, council, join me in a well?
Good evening, everybody. As you may know, I'm Tom Kelleher, the mayor, and tonight I have the pleasure of recognizing two of our long-term employees who together each spent a quarter of a century here in Toms River providing wonderful services for the township. The first one would be our manager of our building department. Okay. Yeah. Daniel, do you want to come up, please? Dan is the manager of our building department, and he is been an unsung hero, especially, you can't imagine how busy that office is with all of the construction and so on that's gone on in town. and particularly during Sandy, when we had 10,000 homes impacted by the storm, and 10,000 people eventually worked their way into the building department, and there were days where the line was out the office, out the hall, and out onto the sidewalk. And Dan did a yeoman's job in catering to those needs and helping get everybody back in home. And so, Dan, thank you for your service. It's a small token of our appreciation for 25 years of faithful service, but we want to present you on behalf of myself as the mayor and the members of the governing body with a clock. So now you won't be late for work, although you don't have any work anymore. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Well, listen, congratulations. Okay. And the next one is our Assistant Township Attorney, Gary Mundy. Gary, do you want to come on up, please? It's over here. Here we go. Thank you. All right, Gary, how are you? Come on in. I've known Gary since he's been an attorney here in Toms River for, well, you've been with the town 25 years, and you were a lawyer in town before. I was just going to say, yeah, we both came here as new young lawyers, and we had dark hair and more of it, okay? Somehow there's something sprinkled a little cloud dust in our hair. Gary, you've done a great job, too, and you've seen the thick and thin of this township. You've been right in the middle of it and helped keep us on an even keel for all of those years. And I can speak on behalf of everybody here to say thank you for a wonderful job that you've done, okay? And I'm kind of glad I'm leaving because I don't know how I'd get along without you. So please accept this clock on behalf of... All right? Okay. No.
I'd like to call up Sean Jackson, Eagle Scout. Sean, you want to hold this? So we have a proclamation for Sean, and one of the things I talk about with Boy Scouts is I think it's a terrific program. As a former Eagle Scout myself, I learned a heck of a lot as a Boy Scout, and I participated in a troop up north, and my brothers and I were all in Boy Scouts, and four of the five my brothers also are Eagle Scouts. So I really have a lot to say about the program. I think it's a terrific program. I think more boys should participate in it. One of the things I think it does is it demonstrates, you have to have demonstrated leadership skills in order to be an Eagle Scout. And the boys in the troop here that aren't Eagle Scouts are all looking up to you, Sean. And they're looking for you to help them along the way, to guide them, to help them in terms of how do they become an Eagle Scout. And they're looking at you as a role model. And I think it's important that Eagle Scouts are role models, not only in the Boy Scout troop, but in the community. And so as you go out there and you say you're an Eagle Scout, I think it's very important that you understand that everybody's looking at you to see, if you're going to behave correctly and everything else. And if you notice, when anyone gets in trouble and they're an Eagle Scout, the first thing they say is an Eagle Scout. How could that happen, And so it's very important that you carry the banner. I mean, only about 1%, 1.5% of the boys that participate in Boy Scouts become Eagle Scouts. So I think it's a real accomplishment. Can you tell us a little bit about how many merit badges you have?
I have about 33 merit badges.
Okay, so you need 21. He has 33. So he's about a third more than what he needs. And having those 33 merit badges is very difficult. There's a lot of different things in there, including life-saving and first aid and camping and cooking, as well as citizenship in the community. And there's a number of other merit badges that you could probably talk about, but I think it's important that we recognize that. And the other thing is that in order to finish the program, you have to do a project. And the project involves not only yourself, but you have to bring other boys from the troop along for the ride and have them help you with the project, and then go out and solicit donations of materials and supplies to execute that project. So I'd like you to tell us a little bit about your project, if you don't mind.
So my project, it was a staircase for the Ocean County Park System. It was connecting two trails. That way they can open up that part of the trail. And that's about it. So we had to put in supports and actually build a staircase. And I didn't know how to build a staircase, so I had to learn how to do that.
Well, thank you very much and congratulations. I'd like to call up Kyler. Kyler, would you come up, please? So again, Kyler, you heard some of my comments earlier. First off, how many merit badges do you have? 30. So again, that's 9 more than's required. And what was your favorite merit badge?
Electronics.
Electronics. When I was in the Boy Scouts, electronics didn't even exist, so they computers were just, you're lucky if you had a calculator, so that's how much it's changed. But I think the program is a terrific program. And can you tell us a little bit about your project?
Yeah, no problem. I developed a recreational picnic area for Silver Bay Elementary School. I had to level the ground. I put down a mulch, and then I built 2 picnic tables for that area.
And do you hold any leadership positions in the troop?
I was senior patrol leader.
Okay, so see, again, that's why I said as a leader, all the boys are looking up to you. So are you going to participate in the future? Great. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Mr. Coco, you have something that you wanted to? Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Matthew Stoll. I'm a resident here in Toms River. And on behalf of our troop, Troop 59 in Silverton, as well as just the scouting community, I want to thank the mayor for the years and years of support, as well as the council members as well. There's countless times where we're having a fundraiser or we're having an Eagle Scout celebration, and it's amazing how often someone from the council or from the mayor's office is there, or the mayor himself. So it's amazing to think how often you guys are just there, and so we thank you for that, because we know at times it's a thankless job. I'm sure many times it feels like a thankless job. So from the rest of the community, thank you for the support for just the scouts as well as for all the children of the community. So thank you.
At this point, I'd like to call up Councilman Terrence Turnback and Councilwoman Luri York to make a presentation. So I'll hand it over to you.
Okay, and we'd like to call up Paul Hulse. Great. That's for you. And actually, if you want to, anyone else you wanted to bring up, your team. Come on, Kim. Patty's here somewhere. She's hiding. And the other Patty. I saw her here before too. Okay. So today we wanted to recognize Just Believe Incorporated, which is running our Code Blue program this year. And Paul ran the Code Blue program last year as Haven Beat the Street. And he also ran it the year before, but last year he got into a township building, and it made a huge difference in the amount of help that they were able to provide to people, but it also made a huge difference in the amount of help they were able to receive because of the visibility of being in the township building and the non-denominational feel of not being in a particular church. So just this year, as of December 4th, they don't just provide shelter and food, they provide services. They connect people with social services and with behavioral health services and detox. And so they really don't just provide a simple shelter from the cold. And so just this year, as of December 4th, they've gotten 4 people into rehab, 2 people gainfully employed, 8 people linked into services, and 2 people into a youth program. And that's as of December 4th. They're almost What's really remarkable is last year, the 2018-2019 season, they got 23 people into detox or rehab, 18 people found permanent housing, 5 people were relocated out of New Jersey to stay with family, 6 people were reunited with their family in New Jersey, and 40 people were able to find assistance through the Board of Social Services and accompanying community nonprofit agencies. So they're really making a difference in dozens of lives. And they also inspired Councilman Turnback to pursue getting the state to change the law from 32 degrees with precipitation, and 26 without, below 26 without, to 32 degrees across the board to call a code blue. And so he's been working tirelessly trying to get that passed. We're close. So, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, it's been a great privilege to work with the Township of Toms River. You know, not just the people that we serve, but you guys all took notice and raised the bar to 35 degrees regardless. And that just inspired me and our staff and everybody that works with us. And it's just amazing how much more we can do when we all work together. And you guys proved that when you all said yes. And I just thank every one of you, from all the way down to all the way across, to everybody that's part of Just Believe and everything that we do. It's amazing to just be part of a change. And together we've changed Toms River to make it better for everybody. So thank you.
Tonight is the last meeting for several of our council members and also our mayor. And on behalf of the council, we have some gifts as a mementos here, and I hope they'll treasure them as a memento of the time served here in the council and the mayor. This Tom Kelleher served 12 years. I think that's a record that won't be broken. It's a long time. He's served through the housing crash, through Sandy, and we've got the town back on our feet. And George Whitman, who'll be leaving, I always say this whenever I get the chance, that during Sandy, George was our council president, and he came up with the brilliant idea of an ombudsman. And anybody who is here that worked with Trevor can attest to the fact that Trevor was a big help in rebuilding after Sandy. And also, we have Brian. I've always relied on Brian for anything regarding fire because he's knowledgeable in that. And also, we started out together. Maria, Brian, and I are the last of the original council members after the change of government. So, Brian, it's been a pleasure working with you for 16 years. Mayor, pleasure working with you for 12 years. And George, you're irreplaceable. We're going to be sending you the budget in Florida. So. Maria, do you want to?
Just a couple words. It's just to echo what Mo had said. It has been a pleasure working with the three of them. 16 years ago, we started out, Brian and I, Ward 1, and Brian was representing Ward 2 at the time. We were kind of like a tag team. Because if you went down Fisher Boulevard, if you were on the east side, you were in Ward 1. If you were on the west side, you were in Ward 2. And we just did everything together. And we made it work for the residents of Toms River. And even with the ward system, we never pitted ward against ward. If somebody needed something, they got it. I mean, Mo would always vote for those bulkheads in Ward 1, and he said, how about those bulkheads? He's like, Mo, show me one in Ward 3, and you got it. And George Whitman, after Sandy, I'll never forget the first meeting we had in the Green Island Clubhouse. I think the power wasn't even on, I don't even know, but the residents were there. They were out of their homes. They were devastated. They didn't know where to turn. And George was really that steady beacon of light literally through that storm. And every homeowners association I went to, because most of Ward 1 was damaged, George was always there, guiding me, encouraging me, and just doing the right thing for our residents. And thank you so much for that, George. Never forget that. And the mayor has been that stalwart. He has been the Toms River cheerleader for the past 12 years. He helps with us, like maintaining our police department, maintaining the services, keeping taxes low. And under Tom's leadership, we've been able to do all that. And all three of them, in my mind, will be irreplaceable, but I know they're just a phone call away. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for the service you've given this community, but most of all, for the friendship and the guidance you've given me on this council. Thank you.
Now, since you're all getting the same gift, you should open them together. Maria, want to hand them out? We got one for the mayor and they had two. Okay. Brian? Mayor got his done first. These are pictures from Virginia Pearl of Town Hall, and I thought it would be appropriate. The council got together. We thought this would be appropriate for the mayor and our two councilmen who are leaving after serving us for all these years. So I hope you'll display that in your house and think fondly of all of us here. Congratulations.
Thank you. Okay, Allison, you can continue, thank you.
Next on the agenda, item 7 is an ordinance of the Township of Toms River in the County of Ocean, New Jersey, amending and supplementing various sections of Chapter 348, Land Use and Development Regulations of the Township Code, regulating fence heights. Final reading.
This is a portion of the meeting open for public comment in this ordinance. Anyone wishing to speak on this ordinance, please raise your hand, step to the microphone, and identify yourself. State your name and address for the record. Let it go a minute and just make sure. Does anyone want to speak on this?
Seeing none, move to close public comment.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Move the ordinance on final.
Second?
Motion made by Councilman Kubel, second by Councilwoman Yurick. Councilman Kubel?
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick?
Yes.
Councilwoman Maruka?
Yes.
Councilman Roderick?
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach?
Yes.
Council Vice President Hill?
Yes.
Council President Whitman.
Yes.
Item 8 on the agenda is an ordinance of the Township of Toms River in the County of Ocean, New Jersey, amending and supplementing various sections of Chapter 325 Golf Course of the Township Code, also a final reading.
Again, this is a portion of the meeting open for public comment on this ordinance. Anyone wishing to speak on this ordinance, please raise your hand to be acknowledged and step to the microphone and identify yourself for the records. State your name and address for the record.
Seeing none, move to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Move
Have
the
a-
ordinance on final.
Second?
Motion made by Councilman Kubel, seconded by Councilwoman Yurick. Councilman Kubel?
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick,
Yes.
Councilwoman Maruka,
Yes.
Councilman Roderick,
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach,
Yes.
Council Vice President Hill,
Yes.
Council President Whitman.
Yes.
Item 9 is an ordinance of the Township of Toms River in the County of Ocean, New Jersey, amending and supplementing Chapter 383, Parks Municipal, to amend certain fees for the Winding River Park ice skating rink facilities. Final reading.
This is again in a portion of the meeting open for public comment in this ordinance. Anyone wishing to speak on this ordinance, please raise your hand and come to the microphone, identify yourself, and state your name and address for the record.
Seeing none, move to close public comment.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Move the ordinance on final.
Second.
Motion made by Councilman Kubel, seconded by Councilwoman Maruka. Councilman Kubel.
Councilwoman Hill.
Councilwoman Yurick, my mistake. Councilman Kubel.
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Councilwoman Maruka.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Council Vice President Hill.
Yes.
Council President Whitman.
Yes.
Next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. All matters listed under item consent agenda will be enacted by one motion in the form listed below. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If discussion is desired on any item, that item will be considered separately.
A is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing assignment of tax sale certificates for the full amount of certificate, including all subsequent municipal taxes and other municipal charges. B is a resolution of the Township Council certifying entitlement of a 100% disabled veteran status and providing that property taxes be canceled and/or refunded. C is a resolution of the Township Council certifying entitlement of a 100% widow of a disabled veteran status and providing that property taxes be canceled and/or refunded. D is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing refund of overpayment of taxes to various properties. E is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing the mayor to execute and the Township Clerk to attest to an agreement with Dan Zarillo Recycling to provide for the removal and recycling services for the disposal of automotive batteries at the Municipal Recycling Center. F is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing the hiring of 8 ice skating instructors for the Winding River Skating Center for calendar year 2020 for a total maximum amount not to exceed $7,000. G is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing the retention of in-house hockey league referees at Winding River Skating Center for calendar year 2020 in a total maximum amount not to exceed $5,500. That's $25 per game. H is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing the mayor to execute and the Township Clerk to attest to an agreement with John Leonetti Associates doing business as Larco Petroleum Services, wherein they will provide for the collection and recycling of waste oil in need of disposal received at the Municipal Recycling Center, Public Works Garage, Police Garage, and Bailey Maintenance Shop at the current rate payable by the Township. I is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing an agreement with certain approved New Jersey state contract vendors. J is a resolution of the Township Council approving a settlement agreement between the Township of Toms River and Lieutenant Christopher Dudzik. K is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing the purchasing division to advertise and receive sealed bids for one new or unused street sweeper for the Department of Public Works. L has been removed. M is a resolution of the Township Council rescinding purchase from CFE Equipment Corporation of one new unused Nissan CF80LP replacement forklift for the Department of Public Works to replace a 1978 Caterpillar forklift vehicle 46 as they are unable to provide the model as quoted, utilizing state contract number 40076 and authorizing the purchase of one new Unicarrier's cushion tire CF50LP forklift from the same vendor, CFE Equipment Corporation, and the total maximum contract amount not to exceed $22,496. And is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing the purchasing division to advertise for and receive sealed bids for various goods and services for the 2020 calendar year. O is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing the execution of a tripartite contract among the Township of Toms River, Lake Ridge Homeowners Association Incorporated, and Turf Masters Incorporated for reimbursement of snow removal expenses pursuant to the Municipal Services Act, NJSA 40:67-23.1 to 23.8. P is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing the Township to utilize state contract T-0109, vendor number 83909, to purchase Motorola/Spillman Stores subscription, maintenance, and support for 3 years for the Police Department in the total amount not to exceed $77,464. Q is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing the Township of Toms River to accept a sub-grant award of the federal fiscal year of 2019 of Emergency Management Performance Grant and Emergency Management Agency Assistance. R is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing the mayor to execute and the Township Clerk to attest to an agreement with John Blewett Incorporated, Brick Recycling Company Incorporated, and Tri-State Recycling for the marketing of recycled white goods for the Department of Public Works. S is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing a contract with Gabrielli Kenworth of New Jersey LLC for the purchase of one 2020 or newer Freightliner M2-106 cab and chassis with attenuator program as specified or equal for the Department of Public Works from Ocean County Cooperative Pricing System bid number B2019-134 in the amount not to exceed $138,612.31. T is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing the mayor to execute and the Township Clerk to attest to an agreement with Ritchie's Tire Service to provide for the removal and recycling of tires for Department of Public Works in the amount not to exceed $7,000 or $950 per 45-foot box trailer load, which includes transportation. U is a resolution of the Township Council continuing the designation of a conditional redeveloper for the property identified on the tax maps of the township as Block 658, Lot 25, Block 569, Lots 3, 4, 10, and 11.01, and authorizing the execution of an amendment to the interim cost agreement related thereto. V is a resolution of the Township Council scheduling the annual reorg meeting for January 3rd, 2020 at 1 p.m. W is a resolution of the Township Council canceling amounts on the balance sheet of various funds. X is a resolution of the Township Council canceling 2019 appropriations. Y is a resolution of the Township Council releasing safe and stabilization guarantees for a minor site plan known as Ocean Beach Shores Club, Block 950.10, Lot 6 at Ocean Road. Z is a resolution of the Township Council releasing performance guarantees and accepting replacement performance guarantees for a major subdivision known as Block 390, Lots 1 and 2 at 1881 Old Freehold Road. AA is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing a professional service contract to Mazer Consulting PA to assist in the Township Engineering Division in the design of site improvements for the Police Department, including but not limited to parking, radio tower additions, and CAFR permitting. Toms River Township Police Department Building and Parking Expansion Project for a total maximum contract amount not to exceed $68,330. BB is a resolution of the Township Council authorizing the execution and filing of consent judgment by William Willard, Toms River Township Affordable Housing Attorney in the matters TFC Custom for Figure, it says for Fig Cap Investment, New Jersey 13 versus Vera Zinc, docket number SWC-5-017979-19. CC has been removed. DD is a resolution of the Township Council approving a settlement agreement between the Township of Toms River and Daniel T. Mahoney.
Okay. Anyone from the council like to have any item removed for separate discussion?
Just roll call on J and DD, please.
J and DD? Okay. Anyone from the public like any items removed and discussed separately? Okay, can we have a roll call on JJ and DD, please?
Would you like to make
Oh,
a
what-
motion for the balance first?
Yes,
Motion.
yeah, motion for the balance.
To move the consent agenda.
A motion made by Councilwoman Maruka, seconded by Councilman Turnbach to move the balance of the consent agenda with the exception of items J and DD.
It's JJ and DD, right?
J.
It's J and DD,
J.
excuse me.
J and DD.
Yes.
Councilwoman Maruka.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Councilman Kubel.
Yes.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Council Vice President Hill.
Yes.
Council President Whitman.
Yes.
Item J.
Move item J.
Second?
Motion made by Councilwoman Maruka, seconded by Councilwoman Yurick. Councilwoman Maruka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Councilman Kubel.
No.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Councilman Turnbach.
Yes.
Council Vice President Hill.
Yes.
Council President Whitman.
Yes.
And item DD.
I have a motion on DD, please.
So moved.
Second?
Motion made by Councilwoman Maruka, seconded by Councilwoman Yurick. Councilwoman Maruka.
Yes.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Yes.
Councilman Kubel.
No.
Councilman Roderick.
I'm going to abstain.
Councilman Turnbach,
Yes.
Council Vice President Hill,
Yes.
Council President Whitman.
Yes.
Next item is the approval of bills.
Move the bill list.
Second?
Motion made by Councilman Turnbach, seconded by Councilwoman Yurick. Councilman Turnbach.
Thank you. I'm going to abstain to PO 19-6893, payable to magistrates, 19-6211, 19-6277, 19-994, and 19-6389, payable to the law office of Dasty McGuckin. I'm a local attorney in town. I have conflicts with those. Yes to the balance.
Councilwoman Yurick.
Abstain from PO 19-06893, payable to the Township of Toms River only for line 19 as pertains to recreation salaries. PO 19-06212, 19-06276, 19-06856, 19-06857, and 19-06873, payable to Remington and Vernick Engineers. And PO 19-06089, 19-06090, and 19-06094, payable to Rutgers, the State University of New Jersey. Yes to the balance.
Councilman Kubel.
Abstain to PO 19-00967 and 19-02224, payable to Vet Corps of Toms River. 19-01520 and 19-01516, payable to Board of Fire Commissioners. I have a conflict. Yes to the balance.
Councilwoman Maruka.
Abstain to PO 19-06211 and 19-06277, payable to Dasty McGuckin Attorneys at Law. 19-00994 and 19-06389, payable to Gregory McGuckin Esquire. And PO 19-06893, payable to NJMVC Lease Program, which is line 100 on that PO. I have a conflict. Yes to the balance.
Councilman Roderick.
Yes.
Council Vice President Hill.
Yes, with the following abstention, 19-02203, payable to Ocean County Health Department. I sit on that board. Yes to the balance.
Council President Whitman.
Yes.
Next, we have elected officials' comments.
Okay, I'll start with Mayor Kelleher. Mayor?
Thank you. While I was just sitting here, I couldn't help but note, we have 24 council meetings a year, 2 a month, and times 12 years comes to 288 council meetings that I've had the pleasure of sitting here with this council and our residents. I think I've missed 2 or 3 meetings in those 12 years, and on one of the meetings, I know I was in the hospital getting a new hip, and I had a little trouble getting out of the hospital to be here. But it's certainly been a pleasure. The 12 years really went fast, and what I really want to do, too, is say that we have really, together, provided for an enhancement of the quality of life for the people that live here in Toms River. And, as the mayor, you certainly cannot do it by yourself. And the philosophy of management that I've had is surround yourself with good people, get out of their way and let them do their job. And the other day we had a council meeting or a department head meeting, and I looked around the table and said, boy, we are really lucky. We've got great department heads here in this town. Mayors can come and go, but those folks that are here, people here perpetually, every day, doing their job and doing it to perfection. And I certainly want to leave recognizing the great job those people have done. So my wife came here to make sure I'm really leaving, and she has me looking for a new job. And so if you know of any openings, any place, let me know, all right? Thank you. God bless all of you.
Thank you. Count. Councilman Turnback.
Thank you, Council President. I want to echo the mayor's comments, and I want to thank Mayor Kelleher and his family, Council President Whitman and his family, and Councilman Cabell and his family, because it takes a lot. When we're here, the family's at home, and they're taking care of what's important. right? And allowing us to be out here. So I see the families here, and I want you to know we appreciate you letting us have this time. I had the pleasure of serving with all three of these individuals for the last 2 years, and they've taught me valuable lessons that I'll carry on for the rest of my life. The importance of talking to each other. Right? We may have different political philosophies at times, but we always work through those philosophies, and at the end of the day, we do what's best and what we think is most important for the residents of Toms River. And I said to Council President Kubel last year, and I meant it, that early on when there were issues that we knew were going to be political, we would meet together before and talk, and that meant something to me. It's what government is all about. You look at a national level and you see all this ugliness. I didn't experience that here, and I never have, and to the credit, it's to the mayor, the council president, Councilman Cabell, because they've led by example, they've taught by example, and I'm proud to know them, and I'm also proud that when they leave here, I've got 3 friends that I can call upon for advice that I know, that have years of experience, and that I will be calling upon, and not just for advice, but for gatherings, and I really appreciate you. I sincerely mean that from the bottom of my heart, and I'm thankful to have known you. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Maruka.
Thank you, Council President. I kind of said it before, how I feel about the 3 of you and serving with you for all the time up here, and it has been a great pleasure. It has been a wonderful experience, and it was nice to take the journey with you, Mayor, with you, Brian, and also with you, George. A couple of things I just want to mention. Anybody heard any sirens in town this weekend? God, it was like the first couple times I ran to the window. I think the fire department, all our volunteer fire departments, whether it was on the barrier island or over here on the mainland, did an amazing job with Operation Santa Claus. I don't think there was probably one house they did not hit. But it was just a joy to see all the joy they brought to the residents of this town. And they really had it together. What zone do you live in? What time you're going to be there? If you miss somebody, you know, you could just make a phone call and everything. But my hat's off, really, to all our volunteers that really did a great job to really usher in the spirit of community and the spirit of the season. And then last night we had the pleasure of having a menorah lighting here at Town Hall, and to see the community come together, just a mutual respect everyone had for each other, and it was just such a wonderful, wonderful experience, and I was just glad to be there and share it with our community. And there were just 2 wonderful events this past weekend, and one thing I could say is thank goodness the weather cooperated yesterday, because we were out there freezing. It was a nice night. It was a nice time all day yesterday and Saturday with our fire departments, and I just was really proud to be an elected official from this town, and just hopefully we'll usher in the feeling of the holiday spirit to carry us throughout the year, and just want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and a Happy Hanukkah, and God bless.
Thank you. Councilwoman Yurick.
So today, I think we're losing 3 really valuable members of our team, and I don't have the longevity with Councilman Kubel and Council President Whitman and Mayor Kelleher, but the 2 years that I've had the pleasure of working with them have been really, really informative. They really accepted us in 2 years ago as new members and guided us through the processes that we had to learn. I mean, I came into politics completely fresh, so I had a lot to learn, and all of the gentlemen, including Mayor-elect Hill, have really helped guide me, and Councilwoman Maruka as well. And so I'm sorry to see them go. I really, really appreciate the lessons they've taught, and as Councilman Turnbach said, for the majority of the time, we did not take the example of the federal government and draw lines. We really worked together, and that is absolutely important and vital to a healthy community, working together. So I hope to continue that spirit of working together, even though we'll be without the three of you guys. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
And happy holidays to everyone.
Council Vice President Hill.
Thank you, Council President. I'd like to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, and best wishes for a healthy, Happy New Year. This will be the last council meeting for George, Brian, and myself, and I want to thank them for their leadership and their service to the residents of the Toms River over these years. I want to thank the residents of Toms River for having the faith and confidence in electing me to serve on this council for 2 terms as a Ward 3 and 2 terms at large. Brian, Maria, and I have served together since the change of government, and it's been an honor and a privilege to have served the residents of Toms River over these last 16 years with Brian and Maria. I've also had the pleasure of serving with 2 mayors, Paul Brush and Tom Kelleher. We've all been guided by what's best for Toms River and its citizens. I've had the privilege of serving with a number of councilmen and councilwomen over the years, Mike Fury, Carmen Intesso, John Sevastakis, Greg McGuckin, Pete Cassano, Melanie Donahue, Al Manforti, Jeff Carr, Dan Roderick, Lori York, and Terrence Turnback, all of whom have served the residents of this town with one goal: what's best for Toms River. Now, as I leave office, I have to make a couple of confessions, though. I'm Catholic, so it's always good to confess. I did not vote for the change of government. I lived in Newark, and I went to graduate school in Jersey City. Both of those systems had the ward system of government, and they were non-functional. And the towns were divided, the cities were divided. I did not want to see that happen to this town. We have 3 high schools. They battle one another in sports. We have 2 little leagues. They battle one another in sports. But who's ever going to the Little League World Series, who's ever going on for the state championship, the entire town's behind. Now, when I decided to interview for the position of Ward 3 councilman, I made a mistake not telling my wife, Roseanne. I doubted I'd be selected, but that was a big mistake. It took 3 weeks before she would speak to me, and I was out of the doghouse. And finally, when I was elected, I made a decision. I wanted to reinvest my council salary back in the community. So I contacted Mr. Green and later, or Mr. Grill and then Mr. Green, Toms River Student Services, and Dr. Gear, the principal of Donovan Catholic. And I set up $1,000 scholarships at each of the 4 high schools in town for male and female student. I asked that if possible, that student be a resident of Toms River since they were paying my salary, and that they at least have a B average and be active in the school community. I asked that that be anonymous until I left office. And I've funded those scholarships for the past 16 years, and I continue to do so as mayor. Once again, I want to thank the residents of Toms River for the opportunity to serve them. It's been an honor and a privilege that I will always treasure. Thank you, and have a very happy New Year.
Councilman Roderick.
Well, everyone has said so much already. I also would like to, thank the retiring members of council and the mayor for their service to our community. I'd like to wish everyone a very Merry Christmas and a happy, healthy New Year. That's all I have for this evening.
Councilman Cabell.
Thank you, Council President. First and foremost, I want to wish everybody Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year. Stay safe. I started this journey 17 years ago with Mo and Maria. We're the last 3. I was outside in a snowstorm, and a burgundy dump truck was plowing the street and got stuck. I went over to help the gentleman, and he was a little bit annoyed, and rightfully so. His snowplow had bald tires, and he had a broken shovel, and he couldn't even shovel the salt out of the bed of the truck. Furious, I helped him get the truck unstuck so we could plow my court. I went inside and spoke to my wife about it, and she said, well, why don't you try to make a change and run? Not thinking I would ever get the nod, I did. My son was 7, my daughter was 6. They're now 24 and 23. It becomes a long time. Through school, I promised my wife I would never let this job get in the way of my family life. Only one back-to-school night that I missed, and I will never tell you the story, but when I got home, I was pleasantly reminded about why I said I would never miss those events. It's honestly been a pleasure. It's been an honor to serve. There are a lot of challenges ahead. Mo, I wish you the best as the mayor. So Tom, I, and George are leaving it to you. Obviously, we're only a phone call away. 2 years ago, Lori and Terrence were elected to this council, and immediately I drew the short straw, what we thought was the short straw, to serve as council president for my second term. And quite frankly, it turned out quite the opposite, and I made a lot of good friends. So with that, I will miss all of you. I promised George that when my wife and I come to Florida, I'll meet Mary Ann and George for dinner in Florida outside here, so we don't have to talk about politics any longer. But with that, I want to wish all of you the best. We're only a phone call away for advice if you need it. And just, again, have a great holiday season.
Thank you. As you probably heard, this is my last meeting as Toms River Councilman and Council President. It's been an honor to serve for the last 16 and a half years in elected office. I go back a little further than some of the others on the governing body because I had the pleasure to serve as a township committeeman, mayor, and deputy mayor under the Committee Form of Government, and then I lost an election in 2000 and thought that was going to be the end. And then I came back in 2009 when Pete Cassano passed away, and I was selected to take his seat. And then in between that, I served on the Board of Adjustment and Toms River MUA and a couple other different groups within the township. And then, afterwards, I got elected to the council, and I spent three elections as a councilman, one for the unexpired term and then 2 other terms. And at this point, I think I counted up the years. It's 16 and a half years, and I think I've spent enough time with the government. My son, when I first started out on the township committee, he was 7 years old, and now he's 32 and has a son that's 16 months old. So he's in the audience here, so you can see that that's a long time, and I think it's time for others to take over. I'd also like to recognize my wife, Mary Ann, for her love and support through 6 elections and numerous council meetings and phone calls and all the time that I had to spend away from home, and she had to hold down the fort. And then besides that, I think I'd also like to recognize my soon-to-be former colleagues, Mayor Tom Kelleher and Brian Cabell. You know, when the mayor started in 2008, we had the financial crisis. So just to give you some perspective, around 2009, our assessed value was about $16 billion, and it went down between Sandy and the financial crisis. It went down by about 25%. So we took, in the first 4 years, we took a hit of almost 25% of our assessed value. And that's not an easy thing to deal with because rates have to go up, and it's a big problem. And yet, we were able to weather that storm and come through it. I'd also like to recognize my council members, Maria Maruca, Dan Roderick, Terrence, and Lori, who are continuing their service on the council. I'd like to thank them for all their work and the fact that we've developed friendships, and you guys have been great working with. I mean, we've had our differences, but I think overall we accomplished a lot in the last 2 years, and I'd like to thank you for your help. I'd like to congratulate Mayor Maurice Hill, who served with me on the council since 2009, and I'd like to thank his newly elected council members, Matt Latano, Kevin Gagan, and Josh Kopp. I think they're going to be excellent council members, and they're going to have to step up to the plate and hit the ball just like we had when we started out. I'd also like to thank the township staff, and in particular, some of the department heads. So a special thanks to Paul Shives, Don Guardian, Ken Fitzsimmons, Allison Carlisle, Lou Amoruso, Dave Roberts, Joanne Benson, Craig Ambrosio, Sharon Smith, and Bob Shinkalian for all their hard work. When you go back and look at what happened over the last 10 and a half years, we had no tax increase for the past 4 years, or no increase in the tax rate for 4 years. We built the girls' softball field. We completed the first township boat ramp. We increased the size of the police department and put a police officer in every elementary school and school within the township that's Toms River Schools. We purchased a number of open space areas, including Camp Albacondo, the Silverton Horse Farm, and properties throughout Route 9. and work with the county to purchase a number of properties throughout the township. We also created the Downtown Redevelopment Authority, which I think will continue on. I think it's going to be important for the future of the town, and the mayor and the new council will have to work with that, but I think it's going to be really good for the township, especially if we can relocate the post office and do some of the projects that we have identified in that plan. And I think going forward, some of the things the council's going to look at is the purchase of the surf club, the downtown redevelopment, and the redevelopment of Route 37 along the East Corridor. As I leave government, I want to thank everyone who helped me be successful over the past 16 and a half years. The Republican organization took a chance with me, and if you go back and look at the old news articles, they called me a relative unknown. So I guess I'm a little bit more known now, but I was relatively unknown, and I shared the same problem that Mo had. I never told my wife that I even applied. And in fact, I found the envelope with the application to apply for a nomination on the floor of my office, and picked it back up, the envelope back up, and put it in the outgoing mail. Otherwise, I probably would have never even been considered. But like I said, I'll miss everyone, but I think the town's in good hands, and it's time to smell the roses. So thank you very much for all your help. With that, I'll open up the meeting for public comment. Anyone wishing to speak, please raise your hand. Come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record.
Seeing none, move to executive session.
All in favor?
Aye.
It's too late. Sorry.
Whereas Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, Public Law 1975, permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances to discuss matters requiring confidentiality and/or of a privileged nature, and whereas the Township Council is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, now therefore be it resolved by the Township Council of the Township of Toms River in the County of Ocean and State of New Jersey as follows. The Township Council will now conduct a private executive session. The general nature of the subject matter to be discussed and/or acted upon is as follows. Matters of personnel, matters of litigation, attorney-client privilege, land acquisitions, and contract negotiations. The following specific items to be discussed and/or acted upon are as follows. The executive session minutes review of December 10, 2019. Personnel issues of the Township Clerk's Office and Administration. Review of status of all real property acquisitions. Appointments to various boards and commissions. And the Dune Buggy Ordinance discussion of enforcement. It is anticipated that the deliberations conducted in closed session may be disclosed to the public upon the determination of the Township Council that the public interest will no longer be served by such confidentiality. Motion to move into executive session made by Councilman Kubel, seconded by Councilwoman Yurick at 5:55 p.m. with all in agreement.
You too. Merry Christmas.
Bye.
Thank you. Go ahead. Age before beauty, you know? Open session.
All's in favor? Aye. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
December 10th?
So move the executive session minutes of December 10th.
Second.
All in favor?
I can, I was absent.
Oh, we need one more then to do it.
We need to reopen the first vote for minutes. Because I was absent. We gotta amend it.
Hurry up.
Okay, Terrence, can you, second the minutes? Second? December 10th minutes.
Happy to second or move whatever has.
All those in favor? Aye.
I abstain.
And one abstention.
Motion.
And then, I'd like, I'd like to make a motion to amend the vote. Motion to rescind your vote. A motion to rescind my vote for the minute, for meeting minutes.
Okay.
Second it.
Yes, second.
All in favor?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye. Merry Christmas, everybody.
6:23 PM. Merry Christmas, everyone.